Welcome back. It's the Big Blue Banter New York Giants football podcast. I'm Dan Schneier, joined as always my co-host Nick Filato, and the Giants have re-signed future Hall of Famer Evan Neal. Let's go, baby. What were your thoughts when you heard this news?
What? That was my thoughts. I was like, wait, really? And then I was like, all right, cool. Look, like he's still a young player. He's 25. I ain't going to sit here and try to sell delusions of grandeur when it comes to Evan Neal, especially not to the New York Giants fan base. But it says something that the new offensive line coach and that this new coaching staff in general wanted to bring him back instead of just allowing him to walk. They want to take a look. And you know what it really does say, Dan? It says something about the pedigree of Evan Neal, right? It says something about the pedigree of Evan Neal that it flamed out so fantastically, and I don't mean that in a way of like to poke fun, but it was such a disappointment that they're still like, you know what, and the Giants were still had some latitude to allow this new coaching regime to be like, you know what, we still buy it, baby. We still buy it. Joe Schoen's like, I knew I was right. Let's go, baby. And then so they're bringing him back. Hopefully they can do something, right? Like hopefully they can teach him some way to just be an asset as a guard. And there is still a spot at right guard. And that's really what I think the takeaway is. Like, look, we don't really want to trust Evan Neal too much here, Dan, but the right guard position is up in the air. No, they haven't signed anybody. Could he be an option? I think he is going to be the plan B or C, but if the Giants cannot locate a competent player, maybe you bring back GVR and just have that same right guard situation that you attempted to have last year. But yeah, welcome back. I wonder what the odds would have been that he would have been back, right?
Right.
What odds would you have got on that? Because I did not think so whatsoever.
Well, I think part of what this is telling us is, unfortunately for Evan Neal, it tells us how bad his market was. He signed a 1-year, $1.2 million re-signing with the Giants. Now, I know Evan Neal, if he had any kind of market, he would have taken a better deal in another spot. What it says us is, wow, they watched the tape, these other 31 GMs, Nick, and they didn't like it. There's not much tape to go for, but like what they've seen, they didn't like. And to me, at first, Nick, it was unbelievably surprising because I've heard some stuff from multiple different sources, including some, potential like former teammates of Evan Neal that did not appreciate the way that he put in time. But this was earlier in his career too. And I think what it tells us is, look, everyone's going to get a clean slate on this roster. That's the number one thing I took away. That includes Deonte Banks. That includes Jalen Hyatt for now. We'll see what happens with that. But that does include those two players, because if Evan Neal is going to get a chance to reshape his career in any way that he chooses to, and now it's up to him at this point, because he's going to get a clean slate. Harbaugh has said that as much as that. The new offensive line coach obviously wants to work with him. On that note, I'm okay with that. Like, there's no negative to giving a guy a clean slate. At any point in anybody's life, they can change. I know, it's hard to change. It's hard to reframe your neurons in your brain to do something different in life, but it's possible and anyone can do it. And if he does it, why not? Like, this is how I look at it, Nick. They signed him for 1 year, $1.2 million. What's the negative? They'll just cut him if he's not. Like it's probably no guaranteed money, or like few hundred grand guaranteed. They'll just cut him if he doesn't make it in camp. But at least now you take a former 7th overall pick that we were about to get nothing for, literally, like no comp pick formula type of stuff that we get out of this. He would have signed for the minimum somewhere. We would have never heard from him again. Maybe he restarts his career somewhere else. But we just dropped the 7th overall pick on a player who played no time except for some games at right tackle and sucked at him. Like, so to me, it's like basically free money almost. It's like taking, I don't know, it's like getting one chance at a 1 in 100. It's not going to likely hit for us, but at least we get the one chance. We can hit a 1 in 100. It's better than 0 in 100.
Which is crazy too, right, man? Like 100% what you just said, but not to focus too much on Evan Neal here. Not long ago, the 2022 NFL draft, most NFL general managers would have drafted this guy in the first round. Like, that seemed to be a consensus. We know that at least with Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys. I think they had him like first overall on their board or something like absolutely crazy, right? Like, which
first overall on their board, a team that scouts offensive linemen better than basically any team in the NFL.
Which at that time wasn't crazy. So this is what the Ravens and the new regime, and obviously Joe Schoen is incentivized too, even though he's incredibly frustrated with this asset, to have Evan Neal have a redemption arc, right? Like, that would make him look pretty damn good if Evan Neal is able to redeem himself, even if it is inside at right guard. But I mean, overall, it's been a colossal disaster. But to your point, Dan, It's a new slate, baby. Let's see. I don't know about Jalen Hyatt though. That's going to be the interesting one because there's room for Jalen Hyatt. There's room for Tay Banks. There is room for Evan Neal to, if they can revitalize their career, there's room for them to do so right now as the roster is currently constructed. Almost 5 days into free agency. So they're if I'm those three, I'm like, yo, can I rekindle my career in this new environment? Is that possible for me? Hyatt one's tough though, man, because like he's still screwing up shit that like he should just not be. And I don't know if it's just going to be coaching. Like, I don't know if it's to that level, right? But I'm hoping, man. I'm pulling for the kid, of course.
But I'm not sure like the Neal is much better bet as somehow at this point than Hyatt, as sad as that sounds.
I don't think either are good bets.
Right.
Like, I wouldn't place money on either. Tay Banks is an interesting one, but the other two, not as much.
Yeah. Tay Banks is an interesting one. I want to see, he's going to have a real I mean, he's got a competition with Greg Newsome. We know Adebo's going to have one of the spots down, and then it's going to be between those two for that other corner spot. And, we heard Greg Newsome say today at his introductory press conference with the Giants, I believe I should play outside. He's like, yeah, I played outside, inside, but I think I'm at my best outside. I agree with that. Like from some of the high-end reps he's had, he can stick in man coverage. I liked him a lot coming out of Northwestern. I love the idea of giving him a chance to stick here. And he even mentioned it. He's like, the number one reason I came here is because, I signed a 1-year deal because I had to, because that's where, that last season left me. But I believe I can be a long-term fixture here looking at the roster. And then they asked him, why'd he come here? And the first thing he said was dart. So it's like, that's such a good sign to hear, dude. Like the last time, I don't know the last time we've heard a free agent say, we're coming here because of the quarterback. I think the last time I heard that was like Brandon Marshall with Eli Manning.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a while. It is something, though, about this cornerback room right now. And I don't think Paulson Adebo falls into this, but you have Tay Banks. Can't locate the football in the end. Drew Phillips struggles with it. Greg Newsome II wasn't that great at that. Was it? He was I know the ball's in the air and I can like throw my arms up and try to knock it away. I think it's coming in this direction kind of guy. Tay Banks is just like, there's a football. Like we play with a football. Like I didn't even realize that was an object in this game. Like that's Tay Banks out there. Then Drew isn't as bad, but he's not.
He's got a clean slate though.
Yeah, exactly. He does.
And I want to actually transition there. Well, there's a lot to talk about that we can get to. On the Neal front, I think we've expressed where we're at with that. I want to actually transition a corner. Before I do that, though, I want to bring up a long time, discussion of note that's been a part of this podcast for no apparent reason. There's no value to it, and I don't even know why I care about it. But I'm just looking for an admission at some point from you, Nick. And I've turned all the lights on in the room. Every light possible. I've shined them all bright. I think at this point in time, you have to admit that I am currently darker.
God, you're going back.
You have to admit it. At this point in time, you've been indoors for 2 months. You're as white as I've ever seen you. At this point in time, my 25% Greek is outshining your 100% Italian. I hate to say it.
I'm not 100% Italian, but yeah.
Well, whatever percentage you got is more than my Greek, but my Greek is coming out, and it's a tough look for you.
No, I don't think it is. Like you're a white person who has a little bit of a tan right now, and I'm a Sicilian man who has olive skin. I think that's the difference. But I just want you to know there's people that who have slid in my DM and be like, yo, your boy's delusional. And I'm like, yeah, no, it's amazing. I love it.
Most of the time I am, but at this specific point in time, there's just no denying what you see on the screen. I've turned all the lights on, all your lights.
Turned all the lights on.
I'm playing. We're not playing tricks with light, but people are going to get pissed if we take this any further. It's an inside joke.
That was good, dude. That was good.
Some people will like it, though. Some people will like it. Anyway, let's get back into this thing. And what I want to talk to you about is corner, because we signed Greg Newsome. He had his introductory presser. I have some high expectations for him. We'll see what happens there. As far as Banks goes, you know where I'm at with that. I actually kind of like to see what's going to happen with Banks. I'm more optimistic than I probably should be. But secondary has been a big problem for this team for a while. And now there's an interesting guy who just hit the market.
Yeah,
he won't count against the compensatory pick formula. He most likely will require the Giants to do some more cap gymnastics. And what I mean by that is not to the Cowboys' extent. Yesterday, the Cowboys signed an edge and used 6 void years. I think that was a typo. I think the max you can use is 4, but they maxed out the void years. It's one of the most embarrassing contracts I've seen in the NFL, to be quite frank with you, Nick. The Cowboys basically just made a mockery of the cap with that contract. It's despicable, to be honest. 4 void years and a 2-year contract. It's despicable stuff. But they're taking advantage of the cap, and it is what it is. But the Giants can still do that too, Nick, if they see an opportunity to do it. And L'Jarius Sneed just hit the market. He formerly was a really good corner with Steve Spags in a press man scheme, and then fizzled out with the Titans. Had his worst season last year. Maybe he was playing hurt, but did play with Denard Wilson last year. And if Wilson knows the inside scoop, Nick, and says, look, this guy was just hurt last year. He's got talent. If we bring him in, we have a chance to really change this cornerback room just like that. He's probably, in my mind, the best overall free agent on the market, certainly the best defensive back free agent on the market. Not me, I'm saying this. I'm saying if Wilson believes this, Nick.
Yeah, of course.
I think the Giants could make a really sneaky move here. Take a player who's cut. It won't count against their compensatory pick formula. Take a chance on him like they took a chance on Newsome. They'll have to pay him a little bit more, I'm sure. Dip into that future cap space. They already restructured Burns today. They still have more room to work with Burns. They can add void years to Burns. They can add void years to the Dex. They can add void years to the Thomas and start to take advantage of it like these other teams. And I'm intrigued by this because if I look across the market, Nick, I don't really see any other player at any other position right now besides maybe Juwan Jennings, but I'm not even a Juwan Jennings guy, that I would want to spend big on. And L'Jarius Sneed could really help a position where we're not really settled on yet.
He could. The Giants did just sign Greg Newsome, though. The Giants don't have a ton of cap space. And I think he played like maybe 700 total snaps in his 2 years with Denard. Like Denard Wilson must have been very excited when the Titans went out and they got L'Jarius Sneed. Like, this is awesome. We got our cornerback one. This is great. Lock it down. He spent basically his entire time in Tennessee just nagged by injuries, whether it be quad or knee issues. And he's 29 years old at this point. I don't know if Wilson would want to. It really would depend on the price. I do think like his play style, from what I remember when he would play with Spags, he was like he was a 1A cornerback, right?
Yeah.
Like better than anything the Giants have right now on their roster. Like
by far, he hits his ceiling. If
he hits his ceiling, was he a top 5 cornerback in the league? Like he was in that conversation.
Traded for him, he was in the conversation.
Yes,
coming off that season of top 5, which Thibodeaux has never been.
Yeah, so to get a player like that would be great. It really would just depend on like how Wilson viewed that entire situation, because I could see like him being incredibly frustrated, being like, why can't like my guy be healthy? But a lot of that is also like circumstantial. What happened? How did he get injured? How does Sneed rehab those injuries? Is he culpable at all for any of the misfortune? Wilson would know that. So, I mean, the idea of it, I do respect and I do like, because I do think the Giants need another cornerback in that room. But I don't know if the Giants will be able to afford that unless it's like a very reasonable contract, more so for the team, because they signed Newsome. They probably want to see what they have out of Tay Banks. You have Paulson Dib on the roster, and you still need to, as the thumbnail says here on YouTube, you need to investigate the trenches a little bit. And you don't have like they did restructure Burns's contract a little bit here, but I don't believe they added void years. I didn't read up on it yet, but I don't believe they did.
They did not add void years.
Yeah, so I don't
like the only team in the NFL
a little tentative.
Not add void.
They're a little tentative.
There's a conspiracy theory somebody put in my DMs or my replies recently, Nick, that the reason the Giants are like the only team that hasn't used void years is because John Mara has been so outspoken against this rule, and he believes it's really an unfair thing the NFL and the NFLPA has allowed to really let teams take advantage of the salary cap. And I think kind of Mara feels that way. I think there's some selfishness to it. If I had to guess, like he's saying like, it's just unfair to have these void years, but in reality, it's probably because he doesn't want, he's one of the owners that's not like very cash, what do they call it? Cash, whatever. Like, I don't think he wants to spend the money up front. So like if he gets rid of void years, then he kind of puts himself in the bucket where he doesn't have to worry about not having to spend up front. I'm just speculating on that. I don't know if that's the case.
If that is the case,
yeah.
If that is, which he has been outspoken about it. That's you remember the Chappelle Show skit when keeping it real goes wrong?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. He's like, I know he's doing it probably definitely for selfish reasons. Presumably.
We don't know. Yeah.
Presumably for selfish reasons, but if not, it's just like, dude, you're following the rules too much, man. Bend the rules. It's a salary cap. It's flexible. You have the latitude to do this, bro.
But to do that, it does require more cash up front, and that's the thing. These teams that are doing it, it's not like a freebie. When you see the Dallas Cowboys are adding 4 void years to a contract for a big at time edge rusher that they would have never been able to afford otherwise without this cheap, I shouldn't say cheating, cheap play. Or I'm just going to say smart play. Not cheap is not the right word. Just advantageous, hustly play. What's the word? I'm looking for like in poker, there's a word, angly. It's an angly move, but it's not really, because you're just taking advantage of the rules, which is fine. Like that's not really anything wrong with that. But point being, like when the Cowboys do that, it's because Jerry Jones is rich as F, and Jerry Jones just doesn't give an F. Like, he will spend up front. But what's surprised me about the Giants is they're willing to spend all this money on John Harbaugh to be one of the highest paid coaches, if not the highest paid in the NFL. They're willing to let John Harbaugh hire like all these quality control coaches. They're willing to let John Harbaugh do all sorts of things from a money standpoint for his coaching staff, but then they don't want to spend all this money up front to kind of cheat the cap. I don't really understand it. And it's just so odd. But maybe things will change. But right now, as it stands, Nick, the Giants are like, I saw this earlier today. The Giants are second to last in 2026 in dead cap, which is actually a good thing. Which is crazy because there's still some Jones money on the books, I think, or maybe a couple others. And void years, they haven't used any, like you said.
Yeah, no, it's something. The Giants, we actually just got breaking news. It's not probably as cool as some people would like, but the Giants signed Elijah Campbell, safety from Miami. He's a special teamer. So
another safety. Wow.
Yeah, but I think this one's much more for special teams. I have no tape on the guy, just judging by the amount of special team snaps he played in Miami. That's what I'm thinking. So yeah. Okay. But back to L'Jarius just for a second.
Yeah.
What is his market right now?
Right.
Like, I don't know. Like, Flott just got
off injury season, 29 years old. It's probably not that high.
It's probably going to be less than Flott's, we think.
Oh, definitely less than Flott.
Like I don't know. Would it be like? Do you think it would be like a 1 year 9 or 1 year like
I think 6? You can look at the Newsome deal and say it's got to be more than that. I think it'd be like a 1 year 10 to 12.
And the only reason why I'm maybe overvaluing it is because of the name recognition and like the ability, the possibility of him returning 85% of what he was when he was with the Chiefs, which is still a very good cornerback one. So I'm wondering if a team who has like some cap flexibility would be willing to give him that, and that would behoove him to go there instead of going to a team who wants to lowball them at 6. I have to imagine there's probably a market of teams who are at least interested, maybe. And if that's the case, I don't know the extent of any of these injuries. These teams would presumably know a lot of that information. Right. And that could be like a big reason why. I mean, 2 seasons where he's played like 300 snaps. That's not a good thing. It's consecutively.
Right. I could see him maybe being like a Ravens type signing since he was released and they like to play the comp pick formula. The Jags GM Gladstone also talked about this yesterday, which I thought was interesting. He's like, yeah, you guys haven't seen us be active in free agency. It's because I'm playing the comp pick formula, which I never really heard a GM kind of admit that before. And it's very interesting to hear. It's kind of why I feel like the Giants there's still so many good free agents out there, because I think a lot of teams are just not trying to sign these players. And then you see a team today like the Chargers who signed Dalvin Tomlinson, who's a player I actually thought the Giants might have a reunion with. I know he's been a little bit downhill of late, but like, I swear to God, I don't care how downhill he gets. You could put him in the Giants lineup right now and he'd be better than every single player besides Lawrence from a run defense standpoint on the line of scrimmage. It just doesn't matter. Like, he hasn't collapsed to that extent. I think the Chargers recognize that as well. But yeah, we'll get to D-tackle in a moment. As far as Sneed goes, man, I'm just going to look at it like this, Nick. If the Giants sign him, that's a good thing. It means Wilson signed off on him. If they don't sign him, I feel like it's the opposite. I feel like it's Wilson saying, look, this guy is on the back end of his career. You don't want to make this investment right now. But as far as I go, I'd be pretty excited to hear we signed him, because I'd feel like we can go into the draft, Nick, in a lot of ways, without having to worry about corner. And you know me, I hate I hate using draft picks at corner.
Yeah, no, it hasn't really worked out for the Giants recently, has it?
Doesn't work out for anyone.
Aaron Ross worked out. We can go back to 2007.
It works out sometimes, but then there's so many busts at corner. Like the Vikings GM lost his job for drafting so many corners, I feel like, despite drafting like Justin Jefferson. It's like he had so many big hits and then so many misses. But I do want to transition. We've talked about corner. I want to talk a little bit about
Jeremiah Love. No.
Well, that's for another.
Well, no, the only reason why I said it is because he just tweeted something about how he's like on his visit right now with the Giants today.
Yeah, we're going to do a whole pod on Love after we extensively watch his tape. We'll kind of answer the Love question. We'll leave it open-ended. There's a lot to talk about there. I'm curious to see. I don't want you to say anything right now, but I am curious to hear if you're going to be open to it or not. And I'm curious to see after watching the tape if I'll be more open to it than I am right now, as far as taking any kind of running back at 5. I may be. We'll see when we get there. I just have to see the tape. And I have to vision in my head, like, can the Giants get super creative if they do draft him and have Thibodeaux and him on the field often and have him kind of line up as like that slot wing back, use a ton of motion, use it like you'd have to get so creative, but it is.
Giants are going to be in 22 personnel all the time.
Yeah. For me to be excited about it, basically, like I don't want Thibodeaux just getting buried. I believe Thibodeaux will return. And I was a big Thibodeaux guy. Anyway, that's not the discussion for today. So we've talked about the corner situation. I want to talk about safety now, because safety is really interesting to me. The Giants made 2 moves already in free agency and safety. They signed Ardarius Washington, we talked about. That one I'm
Great
really
moves.
excited about.
Great
And
moves.
then they surprised me, man. They re-signed Jason Pinnock, who left the Giants after being here for 3 years, signed with the Niners, solid player. His last season with the Giants wasn't great from a run fit standpoint, but solid player. And now he's back with the Giants. And I want to get your thoughts on that, but I also want to ask you this, Nick. I've rarely seen a team carry more than 4 safeties on an active 53 roster. It's typically always that exact number 4. As it stands today, the Giants have a second-round pick in Newman. They have a big contract in Holland. They signed Ardarius Washington, and now they signed Pinnock.
And Elijah Campbell.
And Elijah Campbell, which I don't know what's going to happen, but if it's a pure special teamer, they can probably just list him at corner or, whatever it may be, list Ardarius at corner. I'm not sure what they'll do, or maybe they will carry 5 safeties, which is surprising to me if they do. My question to you is, do you think this impacts at all their chances of taking Caleb Downs at 5 overall, the safety at Ohio State?
I don't know if it impact, like if that's their number 1 guy, I think they would still probably go in that direction. Like Jason Pinnock, like these are 1-year deals that are just, but there are 2 guys on the roster that the Giants may be interested in really getting an extended look at. The addition of Ardarius Washington, maybe a little bit more, but I think he can also be just like a dime, I don't say linebacker, but somewhat like an overhang apex defender, similar to like what Drew Phillips offers the New York Giants, just kind of bringing in people who John Harbaugh trusts and who's going to fit this system that Denard Wilson is going to employ here with the New York Giants. I won't rule out getting Caleb Downs, but when you add more and more people to this position group, it's not nearly as much of a need. And I'm wondering if the Giants maybe are directing their attention draft wise in other areas, or it could just be, look, we're not sure if we're going to get Downs. Maybe we're looking to trade down. Will he be there at that time? We want to have all of our ducks in a row, our T's crossed, our I's dotted, all that shit. So you just go out and you sign everybody to make that roster strong. Like a Downs is like a true difference maker on the back end of the defense. None of these signings should preclude the Giants from going in that direction if they like him that much. But maybe the Giants have their mind somewhere else. That I'm unsure of, but it's plausible at least.
It's interesting. I don't like it's not that I don't think this means they have their mind somewhere else, Nick, but I do think it could preclude, it could mean something, man. Like, we'll see what the Pinnock contract is. And I guess it's possible they can cut Washington with his contract, though it doesn't look that likely to me. And I feel like they like Washington for special teams among things. I just feel like it's kind of odd. Like, they have 5 safeties on the roster, which is a lot more than most teams have right now. And then if they were to draft Downs, they would have 6 safeties on the roster. And I guess they could cut 1 and they'd be down to 5. Even that feels a little unexpected. I got to be honest with you. Like, I think Downs could drop in this draft in general, even though he's a great player, just because of his combine and just because that sometimes happens at the NFL level. If people don't think you're an explosive athlete for the next level, it may be the case.
Especially at a position like that.
Right.
And top 5.
In the top 5, right? You don't see safeties go in the top 5 often. Even Kyle Hamilton went 14th overall, and he's probably the best safety prospect we've ever covered, right, Nick?
I think so, right? Yeah. I mean, Eric Berry was well before us, so
yeah, and Berry was like more of like that Ed Reed center fielder type, which I do like and appreciate. But Kyle Hamilton was just like a next level chess piece type, and he's proven to be. I don't know if Downs is that a chess piece type at 5'11". It doesn't feel like
he doesn't have the size for it.
He's an amazing player on tape, though. Let's be honest.
It's his instincts, man. I mean, he sees shit before it happens, and his timing is so on point. And that like, dude. Everything in the NFL, you guys know this, windows close so quickly. Everything is bang, bang in the NFL. When we talk about like football IQ and mental processing in these terms, like you look at a player like Caleb, like that's what we're talking about. Somebody who can gain an edge independent of his athletic ability because he sees the play speed is so quick. What's going on in his mind. He understands what the offense is trying to do from a foundational, like at a fundamental level. He knows what the offense is doing based off of what he's reading right after the snap, sees the concept, sees the blocking, sees the route, knows what's going to happen, understands that it's going to be a flood to this way. I'm going to react like this. And then he does so. And his closing burst to the catch point is an elite level too. Yeah. Right. So like he has all of that in that. The brain is insane when it comes to a Caleb Downs type of player. And that would be one of the reasons why he would be selected so high, but he plays safety and he's not a truly difference making athlete. That's going to work against him, especially when you're like 5'10", 5'11".
Yeah. And that's a great point. And we'll have to see what happens. He has, I think, OTKP in the comments said he has his pro day March 25th. He'll obviously try to beat some of the testing numbers. I know he didn't test, but just from some of the weigh-in numbers, we'll see what happens there with Downs. But I do think this is intriguing for me as far as where the Giants are going with the safety position. I mean, they have 4 guys signed, and I'm not mad at it that they signed Pinnock, and I'm definitely not mad they signed Darius Washington. I'm like super high on his upside. So we'll see what happens there. Let's talk about finally, the Giants did something at skill positions. This is well, I mean, not finally, they signed Isaiah Likely. And I guess you can call Patrick Ricard a skill player. I don't know what you would refer to him. I feel like he's more of a lineman than anything else, but man,
he's a phoenix. He's a phoenix. Yeah. That's what Patrick
just Ricard some of the, I mean, I haven't done a deep, extensive film dive on him yet, but you and Bobby Skinner have done a lot of cut-ups on him. I'm just watching him, and I'm just so excited to see Patrick Ricard moving in space and just hitting someone in front of Cam Scatterbo or whoever it may be, even Tracy, who I clearly like more than the Giants fan consensus does. I don't really see why not. He was good in the second half. We loved him in his rookie season, but they did something at skill position that I kind of love, man. Calvin Austin, this was like an insane bargain in my mind. They signed him for a 1-year, $1.5 million contract with incentives to get him up to 4.5. Okay, so if he does get up to 4 or 4.5 million, that means that everything's going great and he's putting up huge numbers. Remember with Calvin Austin, I really liked his tape coming out of Memphis. I remember him in that draft class. Like, maybe this guy can be something more. Just for a reminder for those who are watching and don't remember, 5'7.5", 170 pounds, very similar size to Wan'Dale Robinson in that regard. But outside of that, he was literally an elite athlete, the 151st best athlete at receiver out of 2,613 from 87 to 2022. And that's considering he was 0.39 height and a 0.62 weight. Everything else is elite. He had a 4.32 40-yard dash. That's faster than Wan'Dale's 4.4, and you could see it on tape. He had a 2.49 20-yard split. That's elite. That's almost as good as the 40-yard dash relative receiver. A 1.44 10-yard split is insane, honestly. 6.65 3-cone, again, elite. 4.07 shuttle, that's the quickness, elite as well. 39-inch vert and 11-foot broad jump. And the Steelers drafted him a team pretty early, a team that's been really good at drafting wide receivers. And we know it dating back to Mike Wallace, obviously Antonio Brown. Every receiver they've drafted, they've done a great job with. Didn't have the stats with the Steelers, didn't do anything great, but played with what? Mason Rudolph, Kenny Pickett,
Matt Canada, and who's
Arthur
Smith. Like, yeah, exactly.
Two most run-heavy, crappy coordinators that can design a run game, no pass game. Quarterback, I mean, finally got a decent quarterback play with Rodgers, and he never had that. But Rodgers picks favorites. And, he did make a game-winning play, by the way, against the Ravens to win that game with a really nice move, by the way, a really nice inside jab step to kind of freeze up that corner and then release. I'm kind of super excited about this Calvin Austin thing, weirdly excited.
Same here. Look, it goes to what we were saying in one of the previous podcasts about the transition. Well, we've been saying a lot, the transition to heavier personnel, bringing Isaiah Likely and then allowing Wan'Dale Robinson to walk out the door. Like, the drop off, like, Wan'Dale Robinson's a better player than Calvin Austin. Let's make that clear. But the drop off from Wan'Dale Robinson to Calvin Austin, from a money perspective, it's so advantageous for it gives the Giants such an advantage because the Giants are not going to be using Calvin Austin as much as the previous Giants used Wan'Dale Robinson. Like, this is a smart move to go and get somebody who is a similar type of skill set. I think adds more verticality than Wan'Dale Robinson. Wan'Dale is much better, quick routes underneath, better route runner, all that kind of shit. But when it comes to the verticality and like the stretch, and the Giants are going to be running these play action at 12 personnel, it's going to be Malik Neighbors on one side, Calvin Austin on the other. Malik Neighbors or Calvin Austin, whichever one, is going to run the deep
take the top post, off the defense, right?
Deep post, and then the horizontal, the Yankee concept. Simple.
Right.
2 receivers do it. You still have Darius who can do that as well. But look, he's not going to. Well, how many snaps will he play for the Giants this year? Right, like 500 if he's healthy.
Yeah,
maybe. What would his like? He's not going to play like a full, but like this, he's going to fulfill a role that's going to, be much better than what Gunnar Olszewski would fill for you in the slot. So the Giants replaced Wan'Dale Robinson.
He'll have the verticality that Gunnar won't have.
Yes. The Giants replaced Wan'Dale Robinson at such a cost, and it's not going to hinder their ability to spend elsewhere. So now when they do decide to run 11 personnel, they have a reliable and competent slot receiver to operate as a third receiver in that 11 personnel package.
And I'll say this, Nick, I think you're right. And I think everything we've
Our
seen.
comments are hilarious, by the way, but sorry.
Yeah, they're always funny. Good job to everybody. I think this one was really funny. I saw one earlier. Somebody said, "So is Dan permanently in his kitchen now? That construction's been going on since Joe Judge." That's hilarious. Yeah, this construction will never end. But I don't think they even care. I rent, so nobody even cares. They did like a little bit and then they just quit, which is hilarious. But I'll say this: like, you're right. I think that Wandale is better than Kayvon Austin. But to me, so much a receiver, dude, is about your situation, your usage, how your role is, and how your coach envisions your role. And I just feel like Austin has never had anything close to the role Wandale Robinson has been granted under Brian Dable and Mike Kafka. And I'm just not sold that like he's I think Wandale's better. Again, I think Wandale's better. I think he's tougher at the catch point. I think he's, I guess, a little bit better in and out of his breaks.
He's
like
thicker too. Like
Austin's
thicker.
Yeah. But he's definitely not the same vertical threat. And
Yeah.
Robinson's a good vertical threat, but he's not the same vertical threat. I've seen Austin win more on the outside than I've seen Wandale, and he's even barely used there. And I think it's possible, dude, with 4.32 speed and that kind of 10-yard and 20-yard split, that he's got better post-catch upside than Wandale as well, if he's in space, right? And there's going to be so much space in this Giants offense. I love what you said. Like, if we have Neighbors, Austin on the field, we got two guys who can run vertical routes, and then we have that Ricard, that Likely, that Theo Johnson type personnel with hopefully improvements on the interior offensive line that we haven't seen yet. It's Evan, Neal, or Kubas right now at right guard for the time being, but with improvements on the interior offensive line, like, I like how this offense is shaping up. I'm weirdly intrigued by Kayvon Austin. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah, no, I am as well. I'll say the Giants also, they re-signed Aaron Stinnie, so he can factor into that as well. I know that's not really overly exciting, but he was retained by the New York Giants. And for what it is, right? Like, this is, I don't know if we brought it up on a show, but we definitely talked about it at some point, where it's like, if the Giants move on from Wandale Robinson, you do have players, and we mentioned like Kayvon Austin, who can come in at cost. I didn't realize it was going to be even this cheap, though. Isn't it like $4.5 million?
Crazy. It's 1.5 million with the chance to get up to 4.5 million. So
that's what okay.
Incentives will probably get him in the $2.5 million range, whatever it may be. Or, if he breaks out, it could be 4.5. Like, the whole thing is like, yes, I think likely, Nick, he's not that great of a player, but do we know for sure, after coming out of a Matt Canada and Arthur Smith offense with horrific quarterback play until Rodgers, and then Rodgers just picks favorites, and even then it's like Arthur Smith offense, which was run, some throws around the line of scrimmage to Metcalf, some like garbage. Like, you watched the Steelers last year, was garbage offense. Like, all I know is I remember evaluating this kid in the draft, Kayvon Austin. He was freaking good. Like, I liked his eval, dude. I thought he was super fast. I thought he was explosive at Memphis, and it tested that way as well. And he looks good on some of his clips. Like, you look at some of the cut ups of him, some of his high end reps are good.
Yeah, no, I remember too. He's like one of those guys where you're just tuning in on a random like Sunday night football game with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and you're kind of like dozing off because their offense, like, they're just giving the ball to Najee Harris over and over again, and then they just spring that play action pass, and Kayvon Austin's deep. I mean, Kayvon Austin, didn't he toast us when we played him?
Yes.
Yeah, he toasted us on one of. I can't remember who it was.
Real 4.32 speed, which we don't have on the roster, by the way.
Yeah, no, we do not. What's up, Neal? How you doing? But yeah, it's something, man. The Giants, I just feel like they're doing a good job. Like, I'm not used to being this pleased after a free agent period. But again, this is a completely different coaching staff here. So I'm evaluating it under the assumption that these guys at least know what they're doing, right? And it seems like they have a plan. And that's something that I like, because there have been previous years in the past where they go out and they sign people, and it's just like, what the is their plan? Or are they just like now it does seem like they are forming an identity, which of course is also because this is the first year in which this coaching staff has that opportunity to do so too. So it's to be expected, especially from accomplished people that the Giants now have in their building.
And look, they've even like played it smart with regards to like, there's been a bunch of these value signings we like, but they've even played it smart with regards to the compensatory pick formula. They looked at their roster like, wow. And by the way, it's funny, man. Like, we crushed the Joe Schoen 2022 draft, and obviously Evan Neal is a big, horrible part of that. Yeah. But like, the Giants, like, Joe Schoen drafted Flott in that class, who got a massive contract, and he drafted Wandale Robinson in that class, who got a massive contract, ironically from the old coach who's now their offensive coordinator, but whatever, like it still happened. And like now we're in a position where we could be playing the comp pick formula situation earlier than we expected. Like we never expected this to be a year, dude, where we get a comp pick back. And like, look at what the Eagles did, which is so funny, dude. The Eagles traded, got a free rental out of, what's his name? The edge rusher, the kid from Miami. Why am I blanking on it? Who just signed a massive contract? Jalen Phillips. And now they're just going to get a third-round comp pick back for him next year. So they basically just got a free rental for him for a playoff run. And that's how the good teams do it. But the Giants may be earlier to doing this than we expected. We're tracking to get a fourth-round comp pick next year, a free fourth-round pick next year. It's amazing. And like all we have to do is not make a massive signing right now for any free agent. And the only player I could see the Giants spending money on at this point, Nick, is L'Jarius Sneed. And he won't count against your comp pick formula because he was released. So we could just sit around and free agent. I mean, maybe they'll do something else, but that's where I think we're at.
No, yeah, you're right, dude. Before we get out of here too, the Brian Burns restructure.
Yeah.
So that just opened up a lot of cap space in the immediate for this season, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
Now, are we looking to spend that, or is that just operational?
I think that was just as operate as is because of all the signings we've already made.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, man. I'm looking at the Giants roster.
For sure.
Giants haven't added an edge rusher, right?
Yeah.
Kayvon's still in tow.
Good.
Is that going to stay that way? Like I'm so curious, and I'm wondering if this. I don't know. I just
What do we need the money for now? We don't. I mean, we could just keep restructuring. Like I'm not worried about the cap right now. If we want Sneed, just dip into restructure a couple of their players.
Yeah, man. I just the whole Kayvon trade thing is interesting. Because I know the Giants, man, they want more day 2 picks, but are there teams that like what's the market for a player like Kayvon right now coming off of 2?
It's horrible from what we've heard.
Exactly. Like I'm perfectly content with just standing by and having Kayvon
dude.
on this
We don't need a
roster.
hole. We don't need another hole at edge. Like, why do we create? We know we need more than 2 edges on this roster, right?
Yes.
We're not stupid. We know we need that. And as it stands, I mean, the thing is, I don't think we'd ever do it, but like we could take an edge in the draft at 5. I mean, there's some good
so are we counting Bain as an edge?
Sure.
I don't think the Giants are necessarily completely out on that. I don't think that's the direction they're going to go in. But
Bain is the one I would like the most of them, unless you're counting Reese as an edge, not just like an upside pick. But like even so, like Bain, I'm much more excited about Bain than Bailey.
Yeah, I haven't watched Bailey yet. I've been waiting to get to that tape. Have you've gotten some eyes on?
I've gotten some eyes on Bailey. I've just also seen some of the like advanced numbers on him, and I feel like he's a very one-dimensional player, which is fine, but I just don't think we need that right now. Bain's like somebody who like I've seen, I tweeted about this, but my friend, not my friend, it's just somebody who I'm acquainted with, who I used to read a lot about, who's been doing the draft for like 20 years. And I just like people who've been following the draft for that long, Nick, and watching tape. And I know I know his process. He watches tape. It's what's his name? Why am I blanking on his name? I'm just about to give him a shout out. Drew Boilehart. He's like an old school OG draft guy that like my dad put me onto like when I was 13. Like that's how long ago
I love those. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. But like, and I don't, I'm not saying he's the greatest of all time. All I'm saying is this dude watches film, comes up with his own grades, and has been doing it for a while. And he's seen a lot of players in that way. And he comps him to watching the tape of Justin Tuck coming out of college. And Bain is not Tuck's height, and he's not his length. So he's not a clone of Tuck. But when I watch Bain, I know what he's talking about, like that power, that like inherent power that he has. I love that. I want that on my team. I don't care where I put him. Like I'll figure it out. But I'm not saying we should draft Bain. I'm just saying I'm open to it if we trade Kayvon. If not, then it's probably unlikely.
Yeah, no, I feel that. And again, there's room on the roster for a player like Reuben Bain.
Right.
There is. And you can put like, dude, he is the thing about him is the run defense, right? And it sucks that his arms are as short as they are. And I don't know how far he's going to slide because of that. If it was like 5 or 6 years ago, he might have slid a lot further than he would now. Like the NFL is much more open-minded to the threshold.
Does he have like the same length as Aiden Hutchinson? Or was
I thought it was shorter than Aiden.
Even shorter than Hutchinson.
Yeah, but Hutch is also like long in the torso, and Bain is a different.
Bain is not even that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, has a completely different build, but it's his ability to just anchor down, man, and you can just anchor. Like you watched what Miami
plays,
like Miami's defense, they were able to just be like, all right, we could focus a lot on the other side because we trust this guy to have that B and C. Like he can do that, right? When we can have another defender coming from a further depth than usual because we trust him to handle this double team if the double double team were to manifest in a manner in which it's not going to absolutely destroy or leave a liability because we trust this player so much. Like having guys like that on your roster, especially in run defense right now, those are the type of players I want to add. It alleviates a burden off of the defensive coordinator to be absolutely perfect with run fits when it comes to the spacing.
Love that breakdown, buddy, because that's exactly how I feel. And I also feel like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, or just you can give your take on this. While yes, it sucks that he's not a long player and like, measure what long. I feel like that's more of a problem for just like him, the idea of like, can he win or up the arc against these offensive tackles? But as far as like, if you shade him inside a guard and a tackle, like that almost helps him to have that leverage, like, because it gives him the leverage. We talk about this a lot with like Dalvin Tomlinson types.
No, I disagree with that because it's all about
still a length game inside. Okay.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's like fine. You shoot your arms out, like if we're
I know what you're saying. If you shoot them out and they're short, that's not good.
Yeah, if they can contact you before you can contact them, just based off of physics and the reality of your different
Dalvin,
body
I feel
types.
like one with short arms. Does Dalvin might have long arms though?
I mean, I don't know Dalvin's arms off the top of my head, but I think so. But I mean, again, like if you're able to, like, this is to your point, I think at least, and correct me if I'm wrong. He can sink his ass so low and like keep a firm base that you can even make contact. He's strong enough to control a lot of people's arms and to break that contact. Get close if you need to. Get control.
Right. Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Because I'm thinking like Alexander, for example. I felt like he was playing high and that hurt him. He was the opposite of this. And like, even though he was a good run defender at the college level against some crappy teams he played against at Toledo, like it hurt him at the NFL level from a run defense standpoint. But I don't know. We spent too much time on this. Before we get to some supers, I do want to say, because this has kind of been what we're, hinted at in the show. Interior O-line, interior D-line. Are you panicking there? I'm not, because I look at the market right now on interior defensive line. I see a lot of players who haven't signed that I'd like to sign and that I'd be okay signing with in the third wave or even the second and a half wave free agency, as in next week. Like around March Madness when it tips off next week, I could see us signing a D lineman then, or an interior offensive lineman, whether that be GVR, bringing him back to run it back, or any of these players that aren't getting the deals they thought they would get, like Wyatt Teller and Joel Bitonio.
Yeah, no. Well, we did sign Evan Neal, so we're no. I'm just messing.
We're good. It's over. Never mind. Move on to the interior defensive line. We got Neal.
You have made a great point of this, Dan, for a very long time, and I really appreciate it. It is being patient in free agency. You don't need to, I was going to say something else, but I'm not going. It's live right now. But you don't need to be totally eager and just spend all your money very prematurely. I mean, very quickly. But
I know what you're going to say.
Yeah. So, but there are several veteran guards that are around and defensive line. Some of them are getting signed a little bit quicker to the point where I'm like, all right, maybe like what's their plan there? But when it comes to offensive line, bringing back Sneed, bringing back Evan Neal, there are a lot of veterans there and their markets might not be what they thought. And I think the Giants may be able to get them at a value. Whereas if they spent the money 2 days ago on this, it would have been much more, and it wouldn't have been cost effective for the Giants to do so. So you've made that point for years, and I think the Giants are doing a solid job, because I'm looking through the list of free agents, and there's several where I'm like, the Giants brought him in. Like, it's not like, oh, the offensive line is short like that now, but it's like, that's probably the starter. And if he's not, if Evan Neal's able to rekindle his career, excellent. But no, like Teller's Teller's a big one. You still have guys like Dylan Parham, I believe, is around.
Yes.
Alex Kappa. So Joel Bitonio.
Yeah. Even GVR, who played good last season. I'd like to bring him back.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. GVR's, I mean, I would love to bring him back. Even if he's
D-line, there's still guys too, by the way. Reader, among others.
Yeah, Reader is still around for the defense.
It's shortening a little bit, though. Like Dalvin signed today, and there was another one yesterday.
Onyemata signed with the Jets a few days ago.
Yeah. It's starting to get thin there. Pretty odd what's going on with the D-line with the Giants. I don't know what they're kind of doing there, but I'm not panicking yet.
It does make, because there's no, like, maybe they're thinking about it at 37. Like, there's some guys, but
there's a lot of guys I like at 37 on the D line.
There's no one I like at 5 or even at like 9 if they trade down. I don't think.
Yeah, some people like Peter Woods, but I think that's a risky pick.
Yeah,
it's not even what we need.
So, and also it's just like the defensive line wasn't as loaded as the guards was, I think, going into free agency. So once you start having some of these names, I think Sebastian Joseph Day is still around.
Yeah,
so
Calais
Campbell.
I'd love to see the Giants sign Calais Campbell. Would make me so happy.
Yeah, Calais Campbell.
Like, in my head, he's exactly what I need on my D line. That 6'8" frame. I just need that next to Dex. That in my head, I'm like, all right, our run defense is close to fixed.
I 100% agree, and I know this is going to be like probably like an $11 million The contract,
Yeah.
1-year deal. And I know he's 40, and I know conventional wisdom would say, all right, guys, like calm the hell down. But I'm right there with you, dude, especially in base. He has familiarity. He's a leader. Like we've
Yeah.
talked a lot about like the leadership thing. Look, we're not in the locker room. I don't know, I don't know S about F, if you know what I'm talking about. Like I'm not in there.
Right.
But like we can sense that the leadership has been lacking for the New York Giants for quite some time. And everywhere Calais Campbell goes, he becomes like the genesis of leadership in that locker room.
Correct.
I want that on this first year with John Harbaugh, second year quarterback, young team, Malik Neighbors. I want that veteran. So 5 years from now, offensive guys can be like, yeah, man, I learned a lot from Calais Campbell just by being a pro. Like that's the kind of energy that he would bring to the New York Giants. And I find that to be invaluable. And I didn't even mention the fact that you could just put him out there and he's going to be able to shut the run down and still generate like 35 pressures for you. So I fully would support that. I hope the Giants do that.
Clear Planet Theory winner. Like when you hear like, oh, I love a Planet Theory guy, that's what you talk about. Like this is why you draft Planet Theory, because that's like an unblockable frame. He's 40 years old and he's still not blockable by these guys. He
has like 36-inch arms almost.
Like, I know. At 6'8".
Insane. At 6 foot
insane. You just can't block the guy. But yeah, I mean, we haven't heard any connection yet to the Giants, but I'd totally be so excited if I heard that irrationally. All right, let's get to some supers and we can then get out of here.
Some soupy whoopies. Let's do it. Okay. So I am Carter Ray. Thank you so much. That sleeper pick. Oh, look at that. 5, Bain Jr. Move him to 5.
We're talking about him.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah, move to the 5 tech. Yeah. I mean, look.
Yeah. I mean, that's where we're playing base for sure.
Right. It's not a crazy idea. We kind of need that.
And then let's entertain it. Let's say the Giants do that. What is your 4 down front, 3rd and 6? You're rushing the passer. You got Dex. You want Carter on the field, you want Burns on the field, and then Bain would like if it's a front, if it's like an even front, if you want it. So you have Dex at the 1, you'll have Bain I think you could just put Bain at 3, and then the other 2, and then you have Kayvon still.
Right.
So you could even put Abdul Carter as a linebacker, depending on the package personnel, and you can get all of those guys out there. And instead of it being Bain, who's occupying that other spot? Is it just Kayvon kicking inside? Is it going to be Roy Robertson Harris, or is it Darius Alexander? Right. Yeah. So the Giants have options either way, but I do like this as like a possible sleeper pick. I do wonder though if just judging by Brandon Beane, and I know I shouldn't do this, but judging by Brandon Beane and the guys he has drafted, and, Joe Schoen comes from his tree. They're all long as hell, bro. If they're trench guys, they're AJ Epinesa, they're Landon Jackson.
Yeah, I feel like Shane's kind of done here, though. Like it's just he has not felt Joe Shane at all.
What is Donna Ponte? Does she like long arms?
What is John Harbaugh like? Is where I'm at with it. Like, look, I mean, Joe Shane's in there. He's the GM. He's gonna have some. He's working hard, and he's gonna have some. Usually, the GM has the final say. I just don't know if that's the case. Even last year, dude, like. Jackson Dart was Brian Dable's guy. The rumors is, and I don't know if it's true. God hope it's not true. The rumor is that Joe Schoen and Brandon Brown wanted Shedeur Sanders. It's God hope. I can only hope to God that's not true because those people don't belong in my building if that's the case. Shedeur Sanders was is probably in my lifetime, Nick, going to be the most overrated quarterback prospect I ever evaluate. I can't figure that I'll ever evaluate a more overrated prospect. There was nothing to ever make him be a 3rd overall type of discussion. Nothing. There was no traits. There was nothing except his completion percentage in college, which was like all screen passes and all around the line of scrimmage, Mickey Mouse crap, whatever. And he's accurate. He's got accuracy. But anyway, point being, I feel like that was Dable winning out over Shane already last year. Now we have Harbaugh here. Like, where's Shane? Like, what is Shane going to have left from a say standpoint?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's going to be interesting, and we'll see that imprint on the draft for sure.
Yeah.
And like, we're going to be approaching the draft over the next month and a half, you and I, like having conversations about like, all right, well, Harbaugh might do this, but Joe Shane's track record suggests he does this.
Who's going to win out? I mean, it's crazy because, Harbaugh's also done all the work on this class. He was doing it in Baltimore. So it's like, it's not like a situation where you're getting a head coach who's coming from college or something and doesn't have he's just so far behind on the draft. He's like, all right, I'll defer to the GM for this year, and then we'll move forward in a different direction. Harbaugh can do whatever. If he likes guys, he can take guys.
And if we know anything about just like the NFL draft in general, Harbaugh as well, and I think I saw people talking about this on Twitter, like they're going to look to draft to defeat play the teams in this division. So looking to stop Dallas, looking to stop Philadelphia.
Right.
Stopping the run is a big part of that right now.
Right.
I know we've been saying that for a while, but stopping the run is going to be a big part of that. But like, what players are going to be available for the Giants, at least in the first round, that really fit where the Giants would go at 5? If you're just talking about stopping the run, it would just be Sonny Styles, right?
At 5, it would just be Sonny Styles.
Like what I mean is like the defensive, like there's no top like Derek Brown defensive lineman or anybody.
Peter Woods, but Peter Woods is a 3-tech, and we're not running an even front side. He's not probably going to be in conversation. So you're right. There's literally nobody to help you stop the run. And you could say Caleb Downs will help you stop the
kid
run.
From Ohio State now, but that's way too early for him.
Reese or no,
the defensive tackle.
Yeah. What is his name? Caden McDonald. He's a good player. But actually, I saw. I mean, the miracle for the Giants for me is like if this were to ever happen, somebody. Damn it, I should shout him out on Twitter, but I don't remember the handle. We talk a bunch. Sorry about this. Said, and it's never going to happen in my mind because I think I'm putting it at 2% chance the Giants are lucky enough to trade back from 5. I think if you look through the history of the NFL, very rarely have teams traded up for a non-quarterback. Last year for Hunter was one of them. There was Julio Jones. There's like not many. But anyway, if we're lucky enough to trade back, like somebody put together a mock for me where it was like trade back from 5 to 9, I think it was. We get my boy Vega Ioane at guard. Now we have our left guard for years to come. Put him at right wherever you want him. And then we got in the second round, we got Christian Miller at 37, who I like a lot out of Georgia, interior defensive tackle. Mm-hmm. And then we got Malcolm Rodriguez at 45, who I also love. So then it's like we got the stack backer that I want to play the run, Christian Miller to get in there. And we got Vega Ioane on the line. It's like my perfect draft. It's just built right down the middle for me. It's like I don't have to go anywhere outside. I'm building it right up down the middle in the trenches.
I have to imagine like the Giants are just not done with the trenches, right? Like this is what they can't be. Exactly. Like it's hardball. It's just the roster. It's the current players the New York Giants have. It's the philosophy the Giants are trying to impose on other football teams. They're not done. They don't bring in like Patrick Ricard and then just say, okay, I guess we're gonna have it be Evan Neal at right guard or this. Like we just got to wait and see what their plan is. And I'm sure like one of the primary focuses on the draft is going to be getting stronger in the trenches.
It has to be. And there are options. I really think on that second round pick at 37, there's a few interior defensive linemen I love, and there's obviously off-ball linebackers that I love that we've talked about. So, I mean, to me, it's just, is there any possible chance, Nick? Any possible? Wow, look at this. Steven Markowitz. By the way, Nick looks like a vampire today. I mean, at this point, if you don't have further proof that at this point I'm darker than Nick, we got it right there. But
I do shave my widow's peak, and everybody loves bringing that up. I have a vampire widow's peak. Everyone's like, your widow's peak. You got to shave your widow's peak all the time. I'm like, yo, let me do what I want. Look, come on.
Let me just live my life, man.
Let me, for all those people saying, let me see. Well, like, what are you working with?
Yeah,
first,
right.
Right.
Put your own picture up, right? Yeah, please. Put your own picture up. All right. Anyway,
vampire's hilarious, by the way.
There are options though to improve this front and the trenches, but man, just make a prayer come true somehow. I'm not talking to you, God. That's unfair. This is unfair to ask of God. So I shouldn't even say that. There's so many more important things for him to do in this world, or him or her, whatever it is.
Oh my
but
God,
luck. Give me luck, Nick. I don't know, but I just want to hear the Giants have traded 5. Some idiot team wants Jeremiah Love so bad they're going to trade all the way up to 5 because there are just 2 players I want in that 37 to 45 range. There's so many options there, and we just don't have anything after 37 until day 3.
Dude, I'm right there with you. And dude, it's not as crazy. Like you had Justin Hunter last year, or Travis. Always screwed it up with the former Tennessee Titans wide receiver. But you also had the Falcons trade up for James Pierce, and they got rid of this year's first with the Rams. So it's just like teams will make desperate decisions if they feel
that
like
was weird.
Yeah, that was so odd, right? But I'm guessing like was he like the last guy in like a group, and they're like, we need to get the edge rusher. Like that's. I remember when it happened. I think
that GM's been fired since.
Yeah, he has, and James Pierce is also in trouble with the law, which was something. It was just like, what are you doing, kind of thing.
Oh my God, that was so bad. That's like the Kadarius Tony Gettleman type nonsense. Like we met with him at a combine. He had a bubbly personality. We didn't feel like we needed a private visit with him. We'll just drop a first round pick on this idiot. I'm Dave Gettleman. I can't do a Dave Gettleman accent. It's never been good.
You've tried.
Yeah, it's very hard for me to get the Gettleman accent. It's not going to happen. But anyway, that reminded me of that. Let's any more supers that didn't.
Yeah. Dills, thanks, man. Says, so Dan might be right that the plan is to resign GVR and run it back last year's offensive line.
Yeah, look, something to be made of continuity on the offensive line. Everyone talks about it. Every offensive line coach, all the offensive line experts who I watched, breakdown tape on Twitter. A lot of people believe that that's a really important factor in the health of an offensive line. I don't think it's any coincidence the Giants' offensive line played its best football ever last year when they returned every starter they had from the year before. And in addition to that, when they were healthy for the first time altogether. I mean, Thomas got hurt at the end, but until that point.
Bear, thank you so much. Bear 3156. Could you see the Giants not picking a wide receiver in the draft until maybe the later rounds and just go into next year with what we have going off of Harbaugh's track record? Yeah, I could see that.
Me too. And I
I
think
can
there's some of
easily
the
see that.
Listen,
Yeah.
some of the prospects that I want to gamble on at wide receiver are going to be there on day 3. 37, a lot of Giants fans are stuck. I want receiver at 37. I need receiver at 37. That's way down my list. You know how I build a roster.
The Giants did just bring in Mekhi Lemon, I think, for a top 30, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
So they're at least intrigued by the idea of going wide receiver in the first round.
Or it's like,
or they're just, or those eyes just really seduce the Giants. And Joe Schoen's like, oh, we got to bring him in for top 30 visit.
No, or they're like, that was the wackiest combine interview I've ever seen. We got to figure out what's going on here. Yeah. Like, even like, we may need to take this guy off the board. Let's bring him in here and see if he should even be on our draft board after this conversation we have with him. No offense to the kid, but at 37, dude, like, I don't want us to go receiver. There'll be some guys I'm interested in, Nick, guys I like, the kid out of Bryce Lance, Trey Lance's brother. Like, I'm intrigued by them all, dude, but I'll take Christian Miller over them. I'll take McDonald over them. I'll take Lee Hunter over them. If we don't go linebacker round one, I'll take Malcolm Rodriguez over them. I'll take Anthony Hill Jr. over them. I just don't care. I have what I need in my mind, Neighbors and Likely as my 1-2 options in the passing game and options out of it. Like, dude, we had such a good offense last year. Our first time ever scoring 30 a lot in games and having a top 12 EPA with nothing at receiver. How much more proof do we need? And then we have the years of like Manningham and all those receivers, and we sucked. And then we have like, oh, we'll sign Brandon Marshall to go along with Beckham, and we sucked. Like, it matters. Like, you want Higgins and Chase, but you can win without Higgins and Chase if you're blocking right and your quarterback is that good. And if your quarterback can process.
Yes. Like, the quarterback that's the number one thing, but protecting the quarterback is the number 2 thing. And then giving the quarterback weapons to thrive is the number 3 thing.
Yeah.
Yes. But the offensive line helps all of that out, right? So like having a stable offensive line is imperative to a good. You don't find many offenses in the NFL that have like one of the worst NFL offensive lines, right?
Right.
Like that's why it was crazy. The Giants, they were not a great offensive line in 2011 when they won the Super Bowl with Eli Manning. Like the offensive line was one of the
it was
worst,
an outlier year.
But when they got to the playoffs, they started playing a little bit better. Now, Eli still got his ass kicked in the San Francisco game.
Was processing crazy ways that playoffs. I mean, I was watching.
So I missed the 2011 season, but if I'm not mistaken, Will Beatty returned?
Yeah, but I think he got injured. No. I don't remember. No, I think he was.
He was hurt. I remember.
Neal was one of their tackles, but I don't know if he was on the left.
They had to kick. It was something like they had to kick one of our guards.
Beatty got hurt, and he had to put Neal out left. It was bad all around. They were the last graded pass blocking team. But you watch back those playoff games, man, and even the regular season, Eli is just operating at a level he never operated at again or at any point before that. Like, the processing is insane. Yeah. The pocket manipulation, the way he's like moving in and out of the pocket with his feet, and then just processing information and getting the ball out. It was crazy, and it just goes to show like it can beat a bad O-line if you have that. And yeah, the receivers were great that year, but it was a lot of Eli. But anyway, back to this. As far as what the question says, yeah, I would rather gamble. There's a lot of day 3 talents at receiver that I like.
Yeah, same here. Dills, thanks, bud. Says, I know it's pure speculation, but do you think the number 1 preference is to draft Love at 5 or try to leverage a couple teams against each other to get the best trade down package to trade up for him? Dan and I are probably going to do a show on Love, but yeah, I think the latter makes sense too. There's a lot of smoke screens and all that kind of stuff, but also teams aren't like so stupidly eager, to just be like, oh, there's a smoke. Let me just make this trade now. Like they must really want Love. He's going to be central to the identity of this team. The fact that the Chiefs went out and signed Kenneth Walker kind of pissed me off because I was hoping that them and the Saints would possibly get into that type of situation. But now
the Saints I could see doing that. I would never see the Chiefs doing that anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if they were a little bit more cap strapped and they just feel like, we need to add playmakers to our offense. And I don't think it's the craziest thing, but it's
The only
irrelevant
time
now
I
at
think
this
they
point.
traded up was for Mahomes. I don't think they've done like a lot of trade ups.
Yeah, I mean, it's only like it would only cost them probably like if they would only cost us like their 2 and maybe like a
Right.
5 or something, and like
Yeah. Which we would gladly take.
yeah, we would
We
have
would
gladly
gladly
like
take
I
it
don't
too
think we
right
would
now.
have like I don't think the Giants in the position that they're in right now, and this is pure speculation as well. I don't think they would have like held out for I think they would have gave a fair trade to the Chiefs to allow the Chiefs to do that, to keep Love in the AFC too, and also
Right.
just to get that valuable day 2 pick that they so desperately want after the Jackson Dart trade last year.
It's fun to think about, but again, I'm going to go 2%. I think the Giants, any team's going to trade up for Love. I think there's a better chance a team trades up for if they believe Carnell Tate or Jordan Tyson is the best receiver in this class. I think there's a much better trade they trade up for that. Or if somebody's like getting creative and they're like, look, I know a team picking right around the Giants loves Sadiq. He ran a 4.39 at 6'4" and 239. Like, this is an absolute freak. Because to me, like, as I look at the wide receiver class, if I was a GM, I'm probably just taking Sadiq over all of them, to be honest. And I'm going to have a good offense coordinator who knows how to use that, because I just don't see athletic difference makers of the big three. Carnell Tate's long and he's a unique player, and I got to watch more of his tape because he might just be the type of guy that's so good that the athletic testing doesn't matter, like a Nook Hopkins type player. But like as it stands, Mekhi Lemon's too small for me to ever use it, like ever take over like a better athlete. And then the other kid, Tyson, just the injury history is just crazy with him. It just scares me to use a top pick on a small skill position player with an injury history. But yeah, we'll see.
Jason Benjamin, thank you, says, love that Harbaugh is giving Neal another shot. From reps I've seen, he is, in my opinion, our best run blocking offensive lineman. Love the upside play here, low risk.
Yeah, low risk. I don't know if I'd call him our best run blocking offensive lineman. He looks like he should be our best offensive run blocking. But like, I think of like I joked about this with BBG, Big Blue Goon on Twitter. I was like,
big fan.
He put up like a joking like a cut up of Evan Neal returning like I'm coming home type thing. I was like, you missed the rep from like 3 years ago where they had an unbalanced formation with Neal next to Thomas and they just blew the guy off the ball. And like even that, it's like that was one of his best reps, but it was like a double team with Andrew Thomas. It wasn't even him on his own.
Evan Neal is like Bowser in Super Smash Brothers, right? Like you got to charge it up, like
that's exactly right.
Or Donkey Kong, right?
And he's so top heavy, like Bowser.
Yeah, and he's top heavy, right?
Yeah.
You know, when he falls hard too. Like I feel like he really crashes on the deck. But no, man, Evan Neal is just
it's still upside. I wouldn't call it upside, but I'd say low risk is fair to say.
Yeah,
upside is probably done at this point, but like low risk and like, you know.
But when it comes to the run blocking offensive line, what I mean by Bowser is he needs to be like perfectly framed, needs to get low into contact. The defensive player has to be high enough to allow him to do that. And then once he makes that contact, it's like goodbye, right? Like you're flying off the mat, right. Bowser champion type stuff. But that doesn't happen that often because he's not quick enough to mirror or to match, right? Like that's a big problem for him. If that's something he can work on, excellent. But as of right now, it seems problematic just having him out there because he's too much of a liability in pass blocking.
One quick thing before we get to the next one, I just want to briefly touch on it. We'll talk about it more at another show. I'd be intrigued if the Giants like went against the grain when it comes to trading that 5th overall pick and was like, because I don't think anyone's ever thought of this, but been like, okay, I'll make a trade with you and I'll go against the trade value chart. I'll take worse value than anyone's ever taken just because whatever, like I want that second or third, that extra second or third round pick. That might give them a better chance of actually trading the pick than sticking at it. Like, look, I'm at 5, you're coming down from 9. You need to give me this and this and this by the trade chart. If they just like take a much worse deal from the trade chart, I still think it could be just a better outcome for the Giants.
I 100% agree, man. I do. And I think it'd be a wise move. Again, like don't feel the need to get the most value when taking a little less value is still more valuable than not doing anything.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's what I think the Giants should operate because they really want to get depth and get key players at certain positions. Getting that pick 45 or whatever it would be is worth trading down just because the trade chart says no. Like get that extra depth so you can add more talent to your team, especially if you think the guy you're going to go with in the first round is still going to be there wherever you trade down to.
Especially if it's a class too with depth, which we know it is.
It is. Jason Benjamin, thank you, says, I may be on an island, but I just don't see the hype with Downs. Very good player, but a safety at 5. If he's selected, he better be Ed Reed or Sean. Not Sean Taylor. Ed Reed is, I don't know if he has that range or that athletic ability, but it is a lot of processing and then just
Right.
sound fundamentals when it comes to him. But those two are like two of the top players to ever play the position.
Right.
And I don't know if he'd be in that. That's high praise type stuff.
I mean, he doesn't need to be that, but he needs to make the
Yeah.
impact that Kyle Hamilton has made. I'm the more I go through the process, the lesser and lesser I am on downs. Like I'm at the point currently where I take Bain over him. I would take Maalaga, the kid out of, I don't know how to pronounce that right, the Miami guard tackle. I'd probably take Ioane over him, to be honest.
Big Ioane guy over here.
Big Ioane guy. I might take Reese over him. I might take Fano over him, who I think can move and he could be a weapon in the run game. Like I don't know with downs. I need to watch more downs, and I need to just maybe come to the conclusion that he's just so good at football that I don't care about the athletic testing and the fact that he plays safety. But it just doesn't feel great to me to take a non-super athlete safety at 5.
Jason also says at guard, Neal doesn't have to worry about space. Not as much, but still, like when you're engaged in the half-man relationship,
Right.
You need to be able to mirror in those short spaces.
Correct.
And he's still a little bit like whenever he's kicking and shifting his weight, he doesn't really keep his ass that low, right?
Nope.
Like he raises, that chest goes up, and then it's like, hey, attack me, right? Like that's a big problem that Evan Neal has. And it's one of the reasons why he loses leverage so consistently and loses his balance so often, is because he never stays square or low and ready. It's an athletic issue. It's a size issue. It's a control issue. It's something I hope can be rectified, but I don't know if it has to do with conditioning or what exactly, because it does seem to be like he's uncomfortable operating in the manner in which he would need to operate to be a successful guard in the National Football League.
Right. That's exactly right. Unfortunately, we'll see. Maybe Harbaugh might be able to turn him around.
Honestly, I'm not like angry that he's back. I'm like, all right, we'll see. Right? It's just more like,
I'll use the word happy that he's back at 1.2 million. As crazy as it sounds, I just didn't want to like. To me, I was always like, I didn't want to lose the 7th overall pick and get literally nothing out of that. Maybe now they can salvage it. There's at least that chance.
Yo, Mekhi Becton. Let's have him be Mekhi Becton, and then next year he signs like a 4-year contract, and we just get all that cap, and we're just like, and it like salvages the fact that this was a colossal failure.
So comp pick for him. Imagine if we sign him, he starts at right guard for us. He breaks out under Harbaugh, the new O-line coach. He signs like a $48 million deal or whatever, like a Elijah Vera Tucker type deal next year, and then we get the comp pick, like a 3rd round comp pick. This is like a miracle.
And then for him, he'd be done with that next contract. He'd be 28. He can cash in again. It'd be perfect for him as well.
And then you wake up and then you just turn off the Xbox, because that's the only, or the PlayStation.
Turn off the Xbox. Yeah, I'm just gonna go flip burgers after this. Nah, we're just airing out dirty laundry at this point.
Yeah, we don't need to do that. All right, I think that's all the supers we have. Thank you so much for tuning into the Big Blue Banter live show. Please hit the like button if you haven't already. Please.
I'm glad Jack said this, by the way. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, go for it.
Nuke, not Nuck. And I thought about saying it, but I didn't want to. That's what you call Nuke Hopkins.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Nuck.
Oh, dude, let's Jack and Dan. Who's gonna win?
They said Nuke. It's always been Nuke. I don't know.
I always said Nuke, and Nuke then
Hopkins. You know what? I think you're right. I think it is Nuke Hopkins. The more I think about it.
I've only heard Nuke.
Yeah, pretty sure it is Nuke Hopkins. Damn, another one I got wrong. When push comes to shove, if everything's on the line, just assume that I'm wrong when it comes to pronouncing somebody's name.
We got a homie here though saying he's agreeing with you.
Yeah, but he says if I'm wrong, I blame Dan.
Oh, he did come out and say that. Okay, okay.
Respect.
Respect.
All right, thanks again. Please hit the like button to help us grow the show and get this juiced up. Hit the hype button. That'll keep us on there. Remember, I love how active the chat is. It's one of my favorite parts about this show. But please try to leave some comments after the video and live is done as well, because that's like going to juice it up the algo as well. Subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great rest of your day and weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.